If everyone would be seated, please. Our invocation and pledge of allegiance tonight will be given by Pastor Ian Combs from Celebration Church, the Orange Park campus.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for gathering these school board members, administrators, and educators here tonight. I pray that you give us courage and discernment to do what is best for the students and families of Clay County. Let there be good, thoughtful, healthy discussion happen tonight. Let our love for the students of Clay County show above all else, and let us do what is best for them. And Father, I pray protection for our students, protection from the violence that we've seen riddle our nation. Father, I pray protection over our students dealing with anxiety and depression. Let them find refuge in you and comfort from their friends, families, teachers, and pastors. And finally, let our school be a place of hope, development, growth, and community. Father, I thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. And now if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. The Clay County School Board meeting, September 6, 2018, will come to order. I'd like to welcome the citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room, indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and turn it in promptly. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. First item is the public hearing on the budget. Number 1, review the 2018-2019 final millage, rollback rate calculation, and the 2018-2019 budget, all funds. Dr. Legutko?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Superintendent. This is the final phase of our budget adoption for 18-19 school year. So what I will be going through this afternoon is just basically the millage rate, the final millage rate, and of course, the adoption of the 18-19 budget. So with that, we will continue. Okay. Our proposed millage levy for 18-19 is 6.181. It has not changed from our tentative budget. It will generate $73,742,129. Of that, it includes the capital outlay of 1.50, which is $17,895,679, and the basic discretionary required local effort, which is set by the state to participate in the FAFP, will generate about 53 million, around there, if you add those two numbers. So, of course, the total millage rate to be levied is more than the rollback rate by 0.098%. This slide represents a comparison from last year's millage to this year's millage. Last year's was set as 6.438, where we generated 71,778,606. This year, in 18-19, it will be 6.181, which will generate slightly over around $2 million, $73,742,129. However, as you can see, it is a decrease from last year's rate, 6.438 to 6.181. If your home value stayed the same, assessed at the same value, you would have experienced a reduction in your tax by $25.70. However, that's not the case. As you know, your property values goes up, so with that, you will, we had a increase in taxes. Also, I wanted to note that, excuse me, per statute, school districts are required to only budget for 96% of our collection. So basically, we are budgeting $70,792,443.84. We are not allowed to budget the full amount. So, okay, this is the slide that explains the rollback rate. It is one of the requirements that I am supposed to say publicly. So I'm going to read this, if you don't mind. The rollback rate is the millage rate for the new year, which would produce the same level of ad valorem tax revenue as was levied in the prior year. After adjusting the new year's taxable property value by backing out net new construction and certain deletions, those certain deletions could be fees that are assessed. So in other words, the rollback rate is the new millage rate that it would take to produce the same amount of property tax revenue using the new year property tax roll, as was produced the year before by the prior year actual millage rate and the prior year tax roll. Wow, that's long. So with that, if you, as an example, assume a residence has a value at $125,000 less the homestead exemption of $25,000. Its taxable value in 2018 was $100,000. Assume that the house combined property tax rate was 20 per 1,000 in valuation. That property owner paid $2,000 in taxes last year, in 2017. Using the same example, if the home value was increased by $10,000 with the homestead exemption, what tax rate would the homeowner need in order to pay the same $2,000 in taxes for 2018? That is what is considered the rollback rate. So the calculation would be $135,000 less the $25,000, leaving $110,000 at the current rate would generate $2,200 in taxes. To generate the $2,000 in taxes, the rate would need to roll back to the value from the $20 per 1,000 to $18 per 1,000. Okay. This slide is the history of our property assessed values and tax millage over the last 20 years, I believe this is. And really what's interesting about this slide to me, and probably to everyone, is if you look at our value in 2018-19, or even 17-18, it's the same value as 08-09. So we have not, property values have not increased. I mean, we're back to 08-09, which is really, you know, telling here that we have not kept up with the inflation and those types of things that apply to the needs of the school district. Okay. Okay, so here, this is the final budget that we ended up with. We ended up with a total of a budget of $398,000. I apologize if you can't see that number. It's very tiny, so that's why you have the handout. $398,560,663. It is represented by general fund of $312,814,767 in revenue and fund balance and expenses, $37,017,492 in special revenue, $5,878,364 in debt service, and $42,850,040 for capital projects, totaling $398,560,663. What changed from the last budget, the tentative budget? these are the overall changes that happened, and when I did the tentative budget, I did say that there would be some changes after we closed our final budget. And of course, there were a few things that needed to be adjusted. The first, of course, we had a few FEFP adjustments. There was a revenue source that I did not recognize at that time. It came in after the tentative, so I had to add it on. Our roll forward adjustments impacted our final budget, tentative final budget. And of course, we had some local adjustments. There were revenues that came in, revenues that we did not collect, so I had to adjust down or up based on our final numbers. Special revenue, there we increased by about $2 million. There was there was one of our grants that we did not recognize in our final budget, in our tentative budget, I'm sorry. So that is why it went up. Of course, throughout the year, all these numbers will increase as well. Well, I'm hoping they'll increase, not decrease, so, in revenue, of course. Debt service, we had our CONDS adjustment. When I did the tentative budget, we were going off of last year's numbers. We did not receive our capital CONDS and our PICO dollars nor our CONDS dollars until late August. So as a result of that, I had to adjust my final budget up or down. So as you can see, debt service went down, went down some. And of course, our capital, it also went down. Our PICO allocation decreased, but our CONDS allocation decreased, but increased. However, it was a net effect of a decrease. So our initial budget, when I brought to you at the tentative, was $401,946,116. I had an adjustment of $3.4 million, which represents our final total budget of $398,560,663. This is our chart for our unassigned fund balance. We ended the year so far with 4.52%. We are projected to be at 4.54 for ending of next year, which is about 12.7 million. And as always, this is the same total budget that we will be voting on today in addition to the millage rates. Next up, open and close the floor for public hearing, adopt the proposed millage rate and approve the final budget, approve the final resolution 19-3 determining revenue and millage levied, and number 4, approve the final resolution 19-4 adopting the final budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Legutko. Next is the public hearing for comments on the 2018-2019 budget and millages. I'll open the public hearing, and I do have 2 cards that had addressed this. So Ann Wiggins, Dr. Wiggins. You might want to pull that down.
Yeah, 12 people, huh? I hope I'm...
If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Dr. Ann Wiggins, 3780 Creek Hollow Lane, Middleburg, Florida. And as disclosure, I used to be the superintendent here. I hope I'm addressing the correct one, the correct place. Anyway, this is in no way intended to disparage Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis's accomplishment. He appears to be doing a good job. I am addressing the board, the administrators, and the tax-paying public because I feel strongly that a financial folly was attempted. I am talking about the motion to give the superintendent a $28,500.
Excuse me, Dr. Wiggins, I think that you would need to speak under public comments. Yeah, this
okay.
is the public hearing on the budget.
Okay, I
Okay,
rely,
I'll call you back up, okay?
if I don't get tarred and feathered in the meantime.
You. Okay, and then I have a card from Patricia Schaefer. Public comments, certainly. Let me just change it real quick. Okay, is there anyone who would like to address the board? The public hearing is still open. Okay, the budget just thrilled them all. They all want to come talk about it. I'll close the public hearing, and then we will go through items 3 through 10. You have your sheets? Okay. Item number 3, which is adopt the 2018-2019 required local effort mill levy. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Clay County School Board adopt the 2018-2019 final proposed required local effort mill levy of 3.933 with a proposed amount to be raised of $46,922,471. The required local effort millage increase includes basic RLE of 3.930 and a prior period adjustment millage of 0.003.
A second.
I have a motion by Ms. Condon, a second by Ms. Karakas. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Number 4, that the Clay County School Board adopt the 2018-19 final proposed basic discretionary millage of,
We need to
excuse
vote.
me, adopt the 2018-19 basic discretionary operating mill levy. I'll entertain a motion.
Excuse me, Ms. Studdard, we need to vote on the previous.
Oh, you didn't,
Electronically.
we
Electronically.
didn't, oh, excuse me. I'm just ready to go. Would be good to vote on it. Okay. Now,
All right, I'll move approval. I'll move that the Clay County School Board adopt the 2018-2019 final proposed basic discretionary millage of .748 with a proposed amount to be raised of $8,923,979.
I second it.
have a motion by Ms. Karakas, second by Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Number 5, adopt the 2018-2019 Local Capital Improvement Fund mill levy.
I move that the Clay County School Board adopt the 2018-2019 final proposed capital outlay millage of 1.500 with a proposed amount to be raised of $17,895,679.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Bola, a second by Mrs. Gilhousen. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Number 6, adopt the 2018-2019 total mill levy.
I move that the Clay County School Board adopt the 2018-2019 final proposed total millage, which equals 6.181, with a total amount to be raised of $73,742,129. The total millage rate to be levied is above the rollback rate by 0.98%.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Gilhousen, a second by Mrs. Condon. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Number 7, adopt the final 2018-19 through 2022-23 educational facilities plan.
I move that the Clay County School Board approve the 2018-2019 five-year educational facilities plan.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Condon, second by Mrs. Kerekes. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Number 8, adopt the final budget, all funds for 2018-2019.
I move that the Clay County School Board adopt the final budget for the 2018-2019 school year as follows. General operating in the amount of $312,814,667.
767.
Oops. Special revenue budget in the amount of $37,017,493. Debt service budget in the amount of $5,878,364. Capital outlay budget in the amount of $42,850,040 for a total final budget of $398,560,663.
Second that?
Have a motion by Mrs. Kerekes, a second by Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Number 9, Resolution 19-03, Florida Department of Education Resolution determining revenues and millages levied.
I move that the Clay County School Board approve Resolution Number 19-03, determining the final revenues and millages levied for fiscal year 2018 to 2019.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Bola, second by Mrs. Gilhousen. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, number 10, Resolution 19-04, adopting the 2018-2019 final budget. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Clay County School Board approve Resolution Number 19-04, adopting the final 2018-19 budget.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Gilhousen, a second by Ms. Condon. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. We have no school, no presenters. There is no come on, tongue. School showcase tonight. We'll start that up again next month, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Recognitions and awards. Signing of the ratified Clay County Education Association contract. Ms. Paiva, would you meet me up at the podium? You said, do you have ink in your pen?
It's a Clay County Education Association pen,
Before we,
so it has ink.
before we sign this, I want to tell you on behalf of the board and the superintendent, we are just thrilled to death to get this contract behind us. We love working together. Together, we can accomplish bigger and better things for Clay County students. And thank you so much for getting this settled.
Thank you. already seen my writing.
Are you a doctor?
That's exactly right. Lots of people want that signature.
I can't read it. Hey,
Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
Thank God.
here's to a good year.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prosser.
Ms. Studdard, if you'd stay down here, we'll go ahead and we'll do the CESPA. Okay.
This is the signing of the CESPA contract, and Teresa Dixon would please join me up here. See, I remember. And before we sign, let me tell you, I am thrilled that we are settled with CESPA. We appreciate everything you all do every day. I'm so happy that we're all working together, and I'm looking for a good year this year.
Me too.
Very good. We'll hug. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank y'all. That's the way to start a year. Right? Right, ladies? Yes. Okay, now I would turn this over to Superintendent Davis for a special recognition.
Okay, so good evening. Addison Davis, 951, Misty Maple Court. Just kidding, I have to do that. I'm going to be a team player for everybody else. Everybody else has got to do it, might as well do it. Nonetheless, you know, every month, if you notice when you watch and you attend these meetings, I have an opportunity to identify a champion of change. And sometimes, and this evening, I'll do multiple. But I want to, and I usually do it through the superintendent's update in our presentation. But we have some guests that really have a busy schedule. We want to make certain that we get a chance to recognize them, you know, this evening. But as you know, in education, you know, money is always tough. It's money is, and we talk about money, we talk about supplies for our teachers, and we talk about really giving them the resources they need in order to really extend, you know, great quality instruction to our students in order to lift performance. And from a school district, I think we do a really good job helping our teachers out, giving them what they need to be successful. But I can tell you this, no matter what we give from a school district, it's almost never enough. And, you know, there's always definitely needs in our classrooms for our teachers, for them to have the supplies and the resources they need in order to gain access to our learners and to activate the full potential of every one of our students. And this year, you know, this is my, you know, going into, you know, my 22nd month. And I've had the opportunity to attend the Teacher Expo last year, but I got to say, I had the opportunity to attend it this year, and it was the best that I've ever attended. You know, we had over 700 teachers, which I believe was a record by the chamber to open the doors to 700 of the 2,700 teachers in our organization, for them to come and really, you know, be able to not only have fellowship with each other, but really go around and identify, you know, supplies and, you know, for their needs of their classrooms. And you would see when, you know, the line, it's almost like I was at First Book again, where you had the line that's wrapped around the building. And then once again, you know, Nostra Paiva. I left when almost all the stuff was gone. This line was still there. But nonetheless, you know, you see, you know, teachers coming with bags, full of bags, empty bags coming in and full bags walking out, with grin from ear to ear, really excited to not only be appreciative for what they received at the Teacher Expo, but truly excited to be able to go into a classroom and have what they need to be successful. And I can tell you, this cannot happen without the leadership from the chamber. And, you know, tonight, my champion of a change is Tressa Calfee. She is the president CEO of the chamber, and she did a wonderful job opening the doors to not only individuals who donated supplies and funding and gift cards and whatever else they raffled off. It was like tremendous. But they really offered a number of vendors to come in and provide benefits to our employees. And that, that to itself is a perk about being an educator. So tonight, I want to recognize not only Tressa Calfee for her hard work with the chamber, but also a gentleman who is really instrumental in this work as well, which is the chairman of the board, which is Mr. Bob Olson as well. These two individuals collectively had made a great experience on August 6th. And if you know, August 6th isn't a day for teachers. It's an unpaid day for teachers. But they found it a part in their time to come because it's definitely a need in order to obtain materials to better help and assist our students. So tonight's first champion of change is Ms. Tressa Calfee with the chamber, president CEO of the chamber, Clay County Chamber. Please come up. And I want Mr. Bob Olson to come up as well. Let's give a round of applause for everything that they've done.
Good evening, Chair, school board members, and superintendent. On behalf of the Clay County Chamber of Commerce and the Clay County Foundation Board of Directors and chamber members, we thank you. First off, I'd like to thank all of the Clay County teachers and their families for giving of themselves financially, personally, and the hard efforts of making our nation's future physicians, nurses, entrepreneurs, attorneys, and employees. We celebrate teachers each year with much enthusiasm and plenty of school supplies. This year was a tremendous success due to the partnerships between the Clay County School Board, the Bailey Group, Representative Travis Cummings, the Thrasher Horn Center, and Tools for Schools, and the Clay County Foundation. Every year, Clay County member businesses give back. This year, with over 700 teachers receiving supplies, we'd like to thank our chamber membership and local businesses. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world." Teachers make a difference. Teachers change lives. Almost everyone has a story about a great teacher. For most teachers, the greatest award for them is the job of seeing students thrive and succeed. Clay County has great teachers and great stories. Thank you for all you do.
I just have a couple minutes words here. Things like this don't happen on their own. We have a fantastic chamber staff who really worked hard. Your support, superintendent getting the word out to the teachers, Tool for Schools this year. This definitely was the largest I've ever seen. Of course, some at the Thrasher as well. It was one of the most packed expos I've ever seen. I already told Tools for School, you know what happens when you have a good thing like this? The most powerful marketing tool at the end of the day is word of mouth. We have 700 teachers that just left with big grins. They're going to go back and talk to their teachers. Our numbers next year are going to probably swell twice as much. We already have a game plan to avoid the line and get the teachers into some AC because it was hot. I was out there too. So, but anyway, thank you so much, and thank you all for your support.
Thank you. You got anything else? Okay. All right. Okay. Next is our school showcase at Tynes Elementary School. Laura Fogarty, principal. It's all yours, Ms. Fogarty.
Yeah, she brought a packed house tonight.
Good evening. I am Laura Fogarty, and I have Bree Helwig and Stephen Bright with me tonight. We have the privilege of being the administration team at Tynes Elementary. So tonight, we would like to welcome you to Tiger Country. In Tiger Country, you find that Tynes Tiger Pride is our foundation. We work with our students on being positive, respectful, showing integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking, to fight every day with determination, and to give it all your effort. So where is Tynes? Tynes is in Middleburg, Florida. We are nestled on 30 acres. We have 942 students, 22% military, and we have a population of 49% free and reduced lunch. Our school could not be successful without our partners in education, and we are very blessed that we have several faith-based partners, we have military partners, we have McDonald's, Lowe's, Home Depot, and just recently Dell became one of our partners and supplied school supplies for our students. One of the great things about Tynes Elementary is entire country, we work on building our community. One of the things that we do is we have a food truck festival. So on September 21st, if you would like to come have dinner, come join us and dine with our community. But we believe in building that community and having everyone come out and be a part of Tynes Elementary. We have quarterly science nights because we truly believe in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that is the wave of the future. So quarterly, our parents and children come out. They compete in developing and solving a science problem. So it's quite interesting to see which child, and I emphasize child because sometimes our parents get quite involved as well. So we have field days and book fairs, and one of our strengths at Tynes is our music program. We have 150 chorus strongs, and they perform at different chorus concerts at Tynes and local. Also, we have programs for our children because we also believe that some of our children's strengths are sometimes on stage. So giving them those opportunities to shine on stage and in the classroom. So if you look at Tynes, like where are we now? This year in 2018, we saw tremendous growth. We had a total growth of 38 points. We had a 5-point bump in ELA. Our ELA gains rose by 3 points. Lower quartile for ELA also rose by 3 points. Math gains came up 4. Our math proficiency came up 4. Math gains was the only area that we stayed the same. So that's going to be one of our focuses this year. Lower quartile in math increased by 1, and our science came up 21 points. Wow. So overall, our Tigers gained 6 out of the 7 categories, with our focus this year being on math and our lower quartile. Mm-hmm. So how are we going to get there, and what are some things that we're going to do? We are looking at leveraging our 4 principles. We always want our students to be engaged, challenged with rigorous content, to have ownership over their learning, and to make sure that they are understanding. So we have Chromebooks. We are at a 1-to-6 ratio devices, so we're working on that. We are using our STEM and our science resource, and if you have not stopped by and seen our science resource lab, it really is, to quote someone close to me who said, hey, she's a rock star. So going into the science lab, you will find a snake, you will find a gecko, and you will find children engaged because they do hands-on activities every time they walk in the door. So some things that we're doing, one thing that you will find as a strength with our faculty and staff is that they are caring and they are kid-centric. They are all about our children and all about moving them forward. One of the things that we are going to focus on, as I mentioned earlier, is focusing on our lowest quartile and our math. Some strategies that we're doing to move that work forward is we are implementing Eureka in K through 2. 3 through 6, we took a little bit of a different dynamic. We're trying some block scheduling where teachers are focused on just that one content area and extending that. Some other things school-wide, we've got the technology ratio of 6-to-1. We're working on our small group instruction because we believe that if we can catch children early and we can intervene and work in those small groups, then we can move them further. So some things that we're going to do, like I said, we're going to continue to move small groups, utilize our online resources, our iReady and Achieve, which we saw a big bump, as you saw, with the increase in our overall proficiency in math and reading. And we're going to maximize the instructional day, trying to make sure that teachers have the opportunity to work with our children uninterrupted. So we educate the whole child. We have a series of clubs. We have one of them, which is our Tiger Club. So we have our 5th and our 6th graders that meet with each of our administrators, and they talk about leadership opportunities and the ways that they can make an impact not only on Tynes, but in our community. So they have been known to do a whole group public service announcement about bullying and how children can help each other and how they can always be positive and encouraging. We have morning meetings we have seen that take off this school year. Teachers and students take time in the morning to work and set their agenda to know where they are headed for the day. And Tynes Tiger Pride. So opportunities for our learners, we have several opportunities. We have Tigers Club, code, robotics, archery. Our 5th and 6th graders go to individualized clubs on Friday. So archery is one of those, coding, run walk, pottery. So we have seen a shift in our 5th and 6th graders. Whenever they are given that freedom, they are very excited to then participate. So it is bled over into our academic areas as well. We have reading buddies. We have Asia the Read Dog, who is actually here tonight. She is a reading dog and actually a therapy dog. So let's give a shout out to Asia. Asia is moved by the overwhelming applause. Thank you, Asia.
We can't see Asia.
You can't see Asia?
Yeah.
Asia's our therapy dog.
I want to see this dog.
She has a very calming effect on our units. So if you're feeling stressed.
Oh, my. Oh. Oh.
Through the
Love
chair,
it.
can we have Asia stay with me the rest of the night?
Yes.
Asia, you can with me all night.
Asia has a very calming effect
all day,
on our
actually.
students.
You can ride with me around school.
Asia does
All day.
not look real excited.
She is chilling. She's a certified therapy dog.
Okay. Okay.
So our Tynes Tigers roar with pride, and part of our successes that we celebrate, we have monthly awards, we have Tiger Pride Awards, we have academic achievement awards with learning outcomes. But one of the things that I think is most fundamental about Tynes is that we help students recognize and fulfill their hopes and dreams because they take root right there in Tiger Country. So some of our Tigers, you may hear them roar. These are where some of our Tigers are nationally. We have Mindy, that is a senior lead for Apple. Jessica, a real estate agent. John, service manager for Hyundai. Angie, teacher. Alexis, serving in our armed forces through the Air Force. Carrie, a bank associate. Kim, a dental associate. Lori, a teacher. Jason, a firefighter. Michael, a film director and a producer. Because our Tynes Tigers roar nationally. But more importantly, our Tigers roar right here in Clay County. Currently, the valedictorian at Middleburg High School is Jack. He's a former Tynes Tiger who actually spoke about his elementary teachers at Tynes Elementary in his speech. We have Caitlin, and she's here with us tonight. She is an educator. Caitlin, come on up. Official Tynes Tiger. We have Evan that works for our SWAT unit and currently serves and protects our county. We have Logan, who is here with us tonight. Logan, come on up. Logan works for Clay Electric, and this time last year, Logan was working 24/7 to get our lights turned back on. So we've got Nathan, who works for our IT department. He's currently not here. Jenny is an entrepreneur. And Jessica is one of our own Tynes Tigers, who is also a teacher. So while our Tigers roar with pride nationally and make a big difference here in our county, what we want you to remember is that we fulfill your hopes and dreams and that you too can be a valedictorian. Where's our valedictorian? Come on up. puppy dog. Turn around, look at Miss Sabrina.
Really cool. I know.
So we appreciate this opportunity to welcome you to Tiger Country. We hope that you will follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and that you will remember to always roar with Tynes Tiger Pride. Thank you.
Hang out with me, it's like stranger danger. Uh-oh.
Ms. Fogarty, are all those people back there along the wall from Tynes?
Sweetheart, are they in Tynes Tiger Blue?
Yes.
Check
that's
it
what I
out.
was
They're
thinking.
repping the
Why
Tynes
don't you
Tiger
all
Blue.
stand up? All of you Tynes
Yeah.
people, stand up. There we go.
Yeah.
We're proud of
Yes,
you.
ma'am. And through the chair, I got a chance to walk your building the other day, and I got to tell you, it just feels great. I mean, not only did you accelerate student achievement, just the culture. When I walk, there's a sense of care from your teachers. They're working hard around the clock. You know, your team's ready to go, and you know, thank you for your leadership. So good job tonight.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you. This is the last call for public comment cards. If anyone wishes to speak and hasn't filled out a card, raise your hand so I'll wait for you. Okay, then we'll start with public comments. First, Dr. Ann Wiggins.
Hopefully I'm in the right slot.
This is the right time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Ann Wiggins, 3780 Creek Hollow Lane, Middleburg, Florida. Okay.
Prior superintendent.
Thank you. Okay. This is in no way intended to disparage Mr. Davis's accomplishments because he appears to be doing a very good job. I had to write this down so I'd get it in the 3 minutes. I'm addressing the board, the administration, and the taxpaying public because I feel strongly that a financial folly was attempted. I am talking about the motion to give the superintendent a $28,500 yearly bonus. I'm happy to see it was pulled from the agenda. We just passed a millage bill claiming it was for school safety projects. Neither the sheriff nor the school board has the finances to follow the legislative mandate covering school safety, hence the monetary request. When promoting the millage increases, many of the people, those of us who had to defend it and explain the true purpose. Money is allocated for special uses, and in most cases, money cannot be moved from one category to another. Most opposition came from people claiming the money would be used for pay raises. Mrs. Studdard came to a meeting of the NET program to explain the concepts of why money can't be moved around so easily. Those of us supporting the millage raise had to convince voters that the information being presented was truthful. Within 2 weeks of the vote, the system wants to give a $28,500 increase to the superintendent. If the board feels the superintendent deserves a monetary increase, give a pay raise within the same rate given to teachers and support personnel. A system is only as good as its teachers and its support personnel. Then a recent article in the local paper suggests that the building department is going to ask for a half-cent sales tax raise for the buildings so the buildings can be repaired and brought back up to code. How much support will we be able to count on for needed repairs when voters feel betrayed by what appears to be a subterfuge to pass the millage rate? I will remind the system that, according to what I have been told, we have employees working without a take-home paycheck of any amount, of any viable amount, because of the fees for their insurance is too high for their salary. This is a disgrace. I am suggesting the system take a good look at what is transpiring within the ranks of the non-administrative pay grades before they even consider a bonus of this amount for anyone. I offer 2 suggestions. If you feel the superintendent deserves a monetary increase, give a pay raise for the same percentage as you would give the teachers or the administrators, or offer a bonus depending upon the continued ranking of the Clay County school system. I want to finish by saying I think Mr. Davis is doing a good job. The Clay County school system has improved dramatically within the last 2 years, and this is commendable. My concern is based on my belief that when we need dollars for repairs, and that's going to be very shortly, we will not be able to get them because the people will not, they will feel that we have been disingenuous. Thank you. Okay. If you want to ask me a question, go ahead.
No. Our rule of thumb is we don't interact with public comments. Thank you, Dr. Wiggin.
You are very welcome.
Okay, next is Patricia Schaefer.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Schaefer, Ashwood Court, Orange Park, Florida. Thank you, Madam Chair, Superintendent, and board members for allowing me to speak. 3 quick questions. Why can't a comprehensive line item budget be released to the public prior to a budget meeting so we actually know what the figures mean? How can we help the situation without having the education behind it? Second, now that the 1% millage increase was granted on the premise of school safety and security, and with what Sheriff Daniels requested for funding, after that portion of safety and security is funded and paid, the school board will be left with approximately $11 million per year for the next 4 years. And that funding is marked for other operational expenses. What exactly are those expenses? Will any of those other operational expense money be earmarked for raises or supplements to incomes? Finally, the county spends so much money on textbooks and supplemental instructional materials. Why are teachers limited to a certain number of copies paper? That's just unfathomable to me. I found out that they're limited to a certain number of paper to supply their class. If they go over that number, the teachers are paying for it out of their own pockets. What is happening? I thank you for your time.
Okay, and the next is Jennifer Berghardt.
Okay. Schaefer, may I ask a question? Ms. Schaefer, what school are you referring to where the teachers needed to pay out of their own pocket for copies? As a former teacher, I worked at a couple of different schools and never experienced that. I paid for a lot of other things, but not that.
2 years ago, I volunteered over 500 hours at Ridgeview Elementary.
Okay.
Through Scuttlebutt there. Last year, again, I volunteered over 500 hours at another school.
Okay.
And again, it was just talk. I have no facts or proof. But
Okay.
I am concerned. If teachers have
Okay.
Yeah, and I thank you.
Okay, okay.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis is going to, who do you want her to talk to? Ms. Moeller is going to discuss it with you. No, Ms. Bays.
I'm
Mrs.
sorry, through the
Bays,
chair,
I'm sorry.
Ms. Bays, I'm going around like giving signs and
Okay,
sure they're working.
okay. Ms. Bays is going to discuss this with you.
Okay, she's coming to talk to you.
She's the blonde lady that you see standing right there. She's our chief of elementary curriculum. And while I'm at it, we haven't had a chance to formally introduce you to the world, Ms. Bays. Come up here so we can get you on camera.
Go talk to her. Come up here.
Then she can talk. Then she can talk to Ms. Schaefer. This is Kimberly Bays. She is our new
Chief.
What is her title?
Through the chair. This is Kimberly Bays, our new Chief of Elementary Education.
Chief of Elementary Education. And I met her the other day at a meeting of all the principals, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she has a background second to none, and welcome to Clay County. I know you'll do a wonderful job. Thank you. Let's give Ms. Bowes a welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Now-
all. It's an honor to serve, and I'm going to go start right now.
Okay. All right. Okay,
Thank you, Ms.
go see
Bowes.
Ms. Schaefer. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is there a reason that one side of the room is in timeout?
Oh, the lights, I don't know.
Why are the lights, somebody must have hit the light switch.
Through the chair, they wanted a different mood on that side. I don't know.
Okay, and also, let me make an apology.
There we go.
Oh, that's better. Thank you, Mr. Pittman. I do want to make an apology, too. Apparently, there's a little problem with Comcast and Comcast tonight, and I have been told that half of the people are getting it and half of the people are not getting it. So they're working on it. They're trying to figure out what's going on, but I just wanted you to know we are aware that half of the people can't watch it on Comcast, if they have Comcast. Okay. Now, let's see. The next speaker is Jennifer Burkhart. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem.
If you'd state your name and address, please.
Jennifer Burkhart, 2765 Secret Harbor Drive, Orange Park, Florida. I just wanted to speak from the heart about the most recent election. I feel that when it comes to education, party politics should be left at the door. It should be what's best for our students, not if we're a Republican, not if we're a Democrat, not about all of this crap, frankly. And I find it so irritating when teachers are brought in and criticized and for being part of like the big bad union. And a lot of people were saying through social media, through public forums, that if you're a union member and a teacher, then you must not be thinking of the best interest of students. And I would like to frankly say that is the most asinine statement I've ever heard. So I have to say this because do you think I come up here one day out of every month, spend hours of my time, I talked about excessive testing in the classroom. All right, that's not for me. It's easy for me to go give a standardized test. All right, I now don't have to lesson plan for that day. It's easier, but it's not what I want for my students. I come up here, I'm talking about ESE students and what's best for them and not having compensation for the 90 hours I put in over 10 years to do the paperwork for ESE, let alone the extra lesson planning and everything. That I feel is a disservice to the students because teachers like myself, after a decade of working in ESE, switched to regular ed this year because frankly, my kids have to come first and my personal kids. And now they're too young and I can't work 6 days a week like I was last year. My husband made a point. He was like, it's nice that you're home on the weekends because I was working 8 hours on Sunday every single day, every week, literally. Every week. I was working 6 days a week being an ESE teacher last year. So I am up here speaking as a union member and a teacher on behalf of my students. I'm not up here trying to get better pay or compensation or just basic compensation for insurance because I want the money. I am worried about all the teachers we're losing because we don't have some of that. And so just to hear a lot, and I know with politics it always gets nasty, but teachers who were part of the union were brought up repeatedly as not fighting for student rights, but fighting for teacher rights. And I just think that is completely a lie. And I don't like being lumped into that when I am speaking up here on behalf of my heart for my students. That's why I'm a teacher. I love my job and I want to continuously get better. But I don't appreciate the slander that I experienced and every other union teacher experienced through this election, saying it's all about us and not about the students. So thank you for your time.
Okay. Next is the adoption of the consent agenda. There were no items pulled. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Kirikas, second by Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Madam Chair, before we go on, I see that Mr. Swift is here from ViStar, and we have our CTE people. And I just want to say I'm really excited about the new ViStar Credit Union that we're going to be getting at Clay High. I know you won't. You guys do a fabulous job, so thank you.
We are very excited, so thank you and glad you're here.
That's right. And through the chair, Mr. Swift and Michael, you continue, both of you continue to do great work. And I'm sorry, young lady on the back, continue to do great work for us. And we're excited about the expansion. When we heard about the expansion, I was all over Mr. Swift and said, hey, we got to get it done. And excited for it to continue to grow. And thank you to Mrs. Mosley and also Ms. Polk for your hard work in this, making it happen. Both of you are awesome. So thank you.
Very good. Okay, next is the CCEA. We voted, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Next is the CCEA update. Ms. Paiva?
Good evening. Renly Paiva, President, CCEA. We're happy. We're happy we have a contract. I think I saw on the consent agenda that the administrators are getting a raise. Did you really vote for that? Okay. Congratulations to the administrators. We're happy that the administrators have gotten their raise this year also. I thank Dr. Legecko for the time that she put into the budget. I know how difficult that is. So truly, I'm really amazed of the work that went into it and being able to speak to her and talking about certain items, and she's always open to that. I am extremely proud of my union. I am extremely proud of the teachers of Clay County. I think that what Jennifer just spoke about earlier hurts my heart because we're the teachers of Clay County and we love our kids and we love your kids. They're your kids that we're loving on. And I never understood the animosity. There are 4,200 empty vacancies in the state of Florida for teaching. There are 15 in this county. And I like to say that it's 15 in this county because we have a good relationship with this board and we have a good relationship with the district. And if we can get our pay and we can get the benefits up, we can compete with anybody. And that's what I really want to do. So I am not embarrassed that I work with this district. And I'm not embarrassed that I work with this board. I am embarrassed that in the state of Florida, we have 4,200 vacancies in teaching. And that is because we have had an absolute assault on the teaching profession at the state level. I'm going to again ask this board to stand up to your legislators and fight for the teachers of Clay County. That's how we get somewhere. Thank you.
Okay. Next is the CESPA update. Teresa Dixon.
Good evening. Teresa Dixon, CESPA President. I'm really glad to be here tonight. And I have to say I'm really happy as well about ratifying a contract this early in the year. It was really a nice feeling to be able to go back and tell people that they're going to get that step increase. It was much deserved, and most of them were very happy about it. And I say most of them. We ratified the contract with 99.5% voting in favor, but there were those that did not vote in favor. And so I'd just like to leave you with the thought of, I wonder why they didn't vote in favor. And I know one of the problems with the contract, and we've discussed it, Mr. Brodsky and I have discussed it at the bargaining table. We're not bargaining now, so I can discuss it with you. So I just want to say that one of the problems is we need to think about next year, as this year progresses, about increasing the scale itself, not just the step. To us, a step is a year's worth of experience. But what we need to do is think about increasing that pay scale. Over the years, the minimum wage has continued to rise, and it's about to the point that it is catching up with the bottom of our pay scale. And if we want to be able to attract people to work, we have to be above that minimum wage pay scale. So we need to think about doing that. It helps our people at the bottom be above the minimum wage, and then it also allows those people that we have that are at the top that aren't getting an additional step. So just something to think about as the year progresses. Really happy about the millage increase. I think it's going to be nice to see SROs at all schools. We have a great SRO at our school, and I really enjoy the interaction that I see with them and the students, and I think it's a good process. So I'm anxious to see that at all of the schools, and I know that that's coming in the future. You know, we won't see that millage money for until 2020?
January of 2020
yeah,
is the
something like
earliest.
that. So, but when that comes around, I'm also very anxious to see some facility improvements, because I know that that's something that's just terribly needed. I'd like to see toilet paper in all the bathrooms and things like that. Yeah, soap and toilet paper would be nice. Heating and air conditioning that works on a regular basis would be nice. But and I'm not complaining. It's not everywhere, but it does happen sometimes. And the boost in the insurance has really helped our people a lot. So thank you for a quick and painless bargaining session. I enjoyed not having the back and forth and back and forth. You know, it was nice to be able to sit down at the table and talk about what the bottom line is. What do we have available? What can we do? And let's get it done. And that's what we were able to do. And Mr. Brodsky, I really appreciate that. That was nice. But thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Okay, next is the superintendent's update and presentations.
Yes, ma'am. So through the chair, thank you. First and foremost, you know, Ms. Dixon and Ms. Paiva, you know, what a great job that you and your teams did. And also the hats off to Mr. Brodsky and our team as well. And many thanks to the board for working through this process. I would tell you that sometimes bargaining can be very difficult, and sometimes bargaining can be really extensive and extended in time. But I think that we have such a greater understanding of what we're trying to accomplish collectively. And I'm talking about from superintendent to the board to bargaining teams. We are all on the same page as relates to figuring out what we can do to better create better working conditions for our adults and our employees every single day, whether that be financially, whether that be through language, or, you know, whatever it may be. And I think we're getting closer to really being in sync for the expectations for the school district. And I do agree with Ms. Paiva when we speak directly to about how we can compete not only in the best in the state of Florida, but also in the Southeast and nationally, is we continue to improve the working conditions and the finances and the insurance and make sure we have right language around creating the best experiences for our adults, which turn keys to our students as well. So many thanks to everybody in this board as well for working hard to make that happen. I hope this is that we don't hope, we plan that this is going to be the same timeline next year. We can figure it out. We will continue to make certain that I commit to working collectively with the board and also with each of the bargaining units that we're on the right page and working in an expedited fashion to make sure when we start year day one, we're really focused on improving teaching and learning every single day. So we'll move forward. For me tonight, I want to talk about revenue. And, we just had a, recent, revenue stream that we went out for as a school district. Many thanks to the board for not taking sides in reference to letting the community decide whether or not they wanted to increase the mill overall for our school district. So tonight I'll talk about the overall impact of the millage increase, talk about the financial impact that will bring to this organization, and then look at a proposed plan for the organization for expenditures. And please note that what I propose tonight is only a start of a conversation with the school board. And we will work collectively to make certain that we have sound expenditures that really talk about the spirit of the intent of the increase of the mill. It's really directed to what we actually said that we were going to do as an organization. But before that, I cannot tell you the community thank you enough. Talking about funding in education, as I said it before, it's very difficult. There's always needs for us to evolve. There are always needs for us to make sure that we have the necessary resources, intervention, and curriculum and staff in place in order to improve student learning for our students, but also to look at from an organizational standpoint, when we have somewhat of an underfunded mandate pressed upon us. What can we do as an organization? And I put this slide up because it's my hats off to this community for them to be able to step up and say, you know what, education is important. We're willing to take this on with Clay County as it is the foundation of everything that we do. And I want the community to know that, as I said, a week ago, I will work every single day to, with this board, to continue to create trust in our community, to make sure that every dollar that we spend, that we are being very transparent in that measure, and that we have an annual report every single year to show the community exactly what we're spending on, so they can really determine their overall return on investment as an organization. Because you got to understand, this doesn't grow. In 4 years, this money goes away, and if we determine there's an actual need again, then this is really proposed back again through the will of the board to our community. So tonight I'm going to show you a proposed item analysis of what we actually need related to safety and security. And please know, once again, it's only a draft and recommendation that starts the conversation with the board. So we will not, we ask when that money will come. That money will not come until 2020. And we start paying, I think, property taxes, I think at the end of December of the 19, and then we'll transition to start to see the first penny, hopefully around January 2020. And we look at it projected, and this is a low projectability of potentially of $11 million, because there may be depending on what their millage is for on an annual basis, where that is. So I want to say that, we talk about resource officers. While it is 5.6 this year, by the time you get to 2020, there's going to be an increase in pay. So we have to really set and understand that 5.6 now becomes 5.8, because you have an increase in salary, increase in benefits for resource officers. So that 5.8 goes directly to resource officers to put in every one of our schools, if it's the desire of the board. In addition, we look at improving and enhancing the controlled access to every one of our schools, to make single points of entry, to make sure that we have surveillance buzz into every one of our schools, to increase the awareness and safety. We also want to make certain that we have funding availability to continue to improve their surveillance. We do a good job right now through Bruce Harbin and Dr. Kemp as well, to make sure that we have eyes on every one of our schools. But this is only going to enhance that opportunity and gain access to the enhancement where law enforcement and fire rescue can have direct link to be able to see real-time feed of what's going on our property every single day in our common areas. I say that, common areas. In addition, we look at, Ms. Paiva, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Thank you. And then we talk about extended external lighting. We need to make certain that every one of our campuses are lit up in the evening so that we can protect, our property from any individuals who want to come on and participate in undesired behaviors. And then we want to make certain we got to have money for perimeter fencing to continue that project. And overall, making certain that we have ID systems in every one of our schools for identifications. We have it for employees, but also our students as well. So there's easy accessibility to identify our kids as they darken the doorway in their hallways. So this is projected for year one. As we look at year two, I see you see another increase of school officers. This is not an unprofessional dig at the sheriff's office, because they do good work, but I can tell you, they get an increase every single year, and the cost continues to go up. So I'm just having a high projectability in this. But then we'll continue our work with external lighting. We'll look at, propose for main office security updates to make sure that you have to be buzzed in outside of the lobby entry. So you just don't have access once you come into the building to have access to our students and our employees as well. We will continue the need to have perimeter fencing, because we have a lot of fencing that is up in our organization that may need to be changed for different code expectations. And then we need to make certain we look at building a new or existing, improve our emergency management center within the organization. If you haven't been to the emergency management center that's created and owned by Mr. Ward, we've got to kind of have, it's beautiful. We've got to have something here internally as an organization if something would to happen. And I put that money at $500,000. It could be less, it could be more, but we've really got to be sophisticated if we were really hit with an unfortunate disaster within this county. And then also we've got to improve the external PA systems. While we do have PA systems right now and with every one of our hallways and classrooms, if we have PE teachers, right, Ms. Beck, that are outside and they're working with kids every single day, we don't have the availability to communicate them through our PA system, so we need to extend that. Right now, we're working on radios, which is a way to communicate, but we have got to be able to improve that, and then also have increased signage on every one of our schools as well that talks about expectations, that talks about safety and pushing in the right direction. And then on this year too, I talked about putting potential money of putting a fund balance for SROs for $1.3 million. As I said before, this is only a 4-year millage that we would have money for 4 years. And if we're smart about this money, we can put money on the side every single year to be able to pay for the 5th year without just in case we don't have to go or a millage isn't approved on year 5. In addition, for year 3, we see that I put the increase the same as if a school safety officer is $6 million, but we have to really look at enhancing the fire alarm systems within our organization. Some are really archaic, and we want to make certain that we are having the right systems in place at every one of our schools. This is also a safety measure. And then we'll look at main office security updates as well as we continue with our 50 facilities. And then once again, putting more money in the fund balance for SROs for the 5th year. And then looking at portable reduction project. We talk about safety with portables. And I can tell you, no matter what we do, there's nothing that we can do, in order to continue to enhance the work of portables. So the portable reduction, that means get rid of portables and put standalone classrooms, is the way of work that we have to move forward to do. We have money identified for that. And then the last year, we talk. There's an increase there, potentially a 6.2 that could potentially go to resource officers. And then we have option to consider. Do we put the remaining money in year 4 for the extension of year 5, or do we put that money into the portable reduction to continue to put standalone classrooms to better protect our students and better protect our employees as well? So just know that year 4 is the final year of this, and this is all new that we talk about how we spend this money. But we talk about year 5. If we build that reserve, then you'll be able to pay for year 5, and we'll cover the expenditures for resource officers in year 5 without having to go through it. So before I go through this, next month I have talking to board members, and we may have an opportunity for Dr. Kemp and his division to talk about some of the needs that we have from our facilities. When we talk about millage, this millage doesn't even begin to touch the deferred maintenance of our facilities. We have in our first analysis, and I think we did that analysis around 6 months ago, it's around $300 million of deferred maintenance in this organization that we have to address internally to make sure that our facilities are attractive, that they're fluent, and they're functioning every single day. And you may not know this. You talk about $300 million. That's a lot of money, Addison. But you know what? One chiller costs around $1.2 million in one of our facilities in one of our schools. So if that goes down, that's a lot of money that we really have to scramble to find in order to get that one chiller up and running. So we talk about revenue. We're going to have to really talk about how we continue to make sure that we're competitive and we're moving toward becoming not only one of the top school district academically in the state of Florida, but also one of the most competitive, attractive facilities within this organization. If you haven't been to Doe, Discovery Oaks Elementary, please go and visit that school. That is a state-of-the-art school that's built with a mindset to be able to attract newcomers to our school district, and we have to do something internally because we have schools of the age of the average around 47 years of age, 57 years of age, especially in the Orange Park area, that we can no longer put Band-Aids on, and we have to do something differently. So new attractive ways of how we bring forward, how we look at, especially in the Fleming Island area, there's an opportunity we have land for a potential K-8. If we look at, in Keystone area, to look at taking the junior high school out of the high school and having a standalone school, we can do a lot of things if we're really creative about revenues within this organization. So that's my talk about revenue. My ultimately hats off to this community. Thank you. Please hold us accountable. This board is really going to work hard to make sure they best represent this organization. They've proven that since I've been here for 20 months, and I'm thankful to work alongside them. I'm going to go down for my second Champion of Change, and I'm going to turn it back over. When I came in, John Skipper laughed, and he asked, was this my PowerPoint tonight? And, I told him, luckily, I'm a little bit under the weather, that we'll get it done in about 8 slides. So, last Champion of Change. I'll turn it back over to.
It used to be, our backup used to be like that. Before we
that binder. That's a heavy binder you got to carry, but that's the part of a month of work that we talk about. Well, again, every month I do a Champion of Change, and I got a chance to really have an awesome Champion of Change this evening with Mrs. Coffey and Mr. Olson, what they do for our teachers. But there's another Champion of Change. We talk about in the administration world in the summer, it's probably one of our busiest months to get going, and we put a flawless opening out every week in the summer. That I share that information with the board, and we look at 20 areas that we really determine whether or not we're going to be ready for our schools. And we look at textbooks, instructional materials, we look at class size, we look at master schedule reviews, we look at overall cleanliness, we look at so many different, components. And hats off to my cabinet, because once a week we ride, we have, real in-depth conversations about this data and how we can better serve our students. But I can tell you, over the last couple of weeks, we have one individual that has really been, my eyes and my ears on the ground. And while my cabinet's really running hard and principals are really running hard, this individual, and I usually call her Nostra, has been, has been really instrumental over the last couple of weeks. And whether it's text messages, calls, emails, more text messages, more calls, I talked to this individual many times a school day, and I tell you, she has made me a better leader. And she has really, opened me up to see different things that I don't hear and I don't see. And I am glad tonight to say that this individual has been a real partner in my work. And she has made me a better person, a better educator, and she's made me a better support factor, not only for teachers, but for every one of my principals and everyone in this organization. So my champion of change for my second one for this month is Nostra Renali Paiva. Yeah, come on up.
Oh, no.
You have to come take a picture.
Oh.
You don't get any more minutes. I don't know what you did. I don't know. That's it. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out.
Okay.
She's going to call me 2 more times while I'm up here, by the way, for teachers. She's doing her job.
Okay. Now we'll go to the discussion agenda. Item D1, the salary supplement for the superintendent of schools was deleted from the agenda. However, I do have one card who wanted to address this. I just asked our attorney. I don't think in all my years we've ever had a card to address a deleted item. So he said, it's up to me. So if y'all don't mind, we'll hear it. Okay, this card is from Kathleen Mueller.
Good evening. I'm Kathleen Moeller, 2054 Riverside Avenue, Jacksonville, Florida. And I would like to speak this evening to why I believe, and I have no relationship to the superintendent. I had somebody say, was I a relative? I have no relationship at all to the superintendent. In fact, I met him 6 years ago. I want to speak tonight because I believe it's incredibly important that Clay County continue to move forward for the students, and they continue to have a leader with the passion, the vision, the energy to make all these great things that have happened over the last 20 months continue to happen. So I want to just review some of the reasons why I believe our superintendent does deserve a supplement. And he didn't ask me to come up here tonight, but I feel that I personally observe when people try to get him away from you guys. And I know that you're not going to be able to keep him if you're not competitive and have acknowledged the performance. So I'm going to just review some of the things that have occurred over the last 20 months. He's worked with us and Dr. Legutko to solve many of our deep-seated budget problems so that we have made significant progress in the health insurance issue. We've made some progress and will make more for teacher salaries. We have worked to provide leadership for the 21st century. When he arrived, not all, I was shocked by this, not all our schools were connected to the information highway, which is kind of scary because the students of tomorrow face a future that we can only imagine, and they must have digital access. And that's happened across our district. For 4 years, Clay was not an A school district, and now we are. Did Addison do that by himself? Excuse me, did the superintendent do that by himself? Absolutely not. I think he's a fine leader, but it takes a team. It takes a school board. It takes teachers. It takes Rena Lee being a partner. It takes all of us. But it also takes a leader that will talk, communicate, and dialogue. And that's what he did. I came to your board meetings with your previous superintendent. I saw the turmoil, the angst, the infighting. It was horrible to observe. And that's gone away. And instead, in my opinion, everybody's putting the kids first. And that's a leader. That's a leader that has healed and brought people together. I think that has to be recognized. Equity. When he arrived, not all schools received the same resources. Now we've made sure, to the best of our ability, thank you very much.
Are you getting near the end?
Yes, ma'am.
If you just got
Ma'am.
2 or 3 sentences, go ahead.
Thank you.
We don't want to cut you.
When he arrived, not all schools had equal resources. Through planning for instructional resources, we've ensured all schools have a common base of core materials and materials for Tier 1 and Tier 2 instruction. Leadership matters, performance matters, and it should be rewarded. Since 2006, a supplement was awarded to superintendents. It's time to recognize the high level of performance Mr. Davis has delivered. He delivered on all items on his 100-day plan. Clay County schools are on a new path. Let's keep our leader with us who has brought us such high levels of achievement. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay, next is Human Resources, Special Action A. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Have a second, motion by Ms. Carricka, second by Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Next is School Board Attorney remarks.
None, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. School Board member remarks. Before I start on this, we all received an email today about the legislative agenda meeting on the 20th of September in Kissimmee. Ms. Bola is our legislative person, liaison or whatever, and Ms. Carricka is the alternate. This would, yes. And then what has happened is Ms. Bola, prior to us learning about this meeting, Mrs. Bola had made plans to be out of town. And so Ms. Carricka informed me this afternoon that she is going to be out of town that week. So here we go. Now, Ms. Condon, you are the legislative what? It's not this legislative committee, but aren't you on another legislative committee?
I would have been on that, but I'm not going to go.
Oh, okay. Ms. Gilhausen, would you like to go to Kissimmee on the 20th?
That leaves you.
So what is, let me check the date.
It's the legislative agenda meeting on the 20th of September. I'm not sure what day of the week that is.
I have another engagement that day.
Well, it looks like your chairman may have to look and see if she can cancel a couple of things. Or we just won't have anyone there.
It's okay not to have a representative.
I was just
there.
going to say, it's okay not to have a representative. But
Yeah.
if anyone was available.
I will see if I can rearrange.
And I'll be happy to contact.
I haven't been to Kissimmee in a long time, so, and
And the timing is such that it starts at 10, ends at 4. They tried to establish it so that most people within a couple of hour radius would be able to drive in, do the meeting, leave, go home, sort of thing. But as I said, it's not imperative.
I'll look into it. If I can possibly go, I will. And if
Thank you.
not, I will just notify them that we won't have a representatives there. So,
Or
I mean, it's kind of short notice that, so, anyway. right, I wanted to get that out of the way. Okay. Oh, and one other thing. I would like to have about a 5-minute executive session as soon as we adjourn this meeting. There's a short matter we need to take care of. So if y'all would just stay like 5 or 10 minutes at the most. Okay. Okay, now, who wants to go first? Ms. Gilhousen? Okay. Ms. Bola?
You know I always come with something.
Oh, Lordy.
I always have to have something. First of all, beginning of the school year was wonderful. And I have to thank Dr. Kemp for an idea that he came up with. And it was also, Mr. Sweat was out there as well. And he told me that he and I were talking about the first day of school, and we, of course, went around, saw a number of schools and enjoyed that. But Dr. Kemp was out at the bus barn in Middleburg and waving at the buses. And I said, well, that sounds like fun. So I went the next day and took along a thank you sign that, yes, looks much like a campaign thank you. And this would have been on one of my signs when I campaigned, except that we had a tropical storm, had to get all the signs down, and I had lots of thank you signs, and I thought, great use for it. And I stood, and it was 5:30 in the morning. I got there a little late, actually, missed a few buses. But 5:30, you could still see Orion in the night sky, early morning sky. It was wonderful. And just waved and said thank you, and got lots of toots and lots of, flashes and stuff. And Dr. Kemp said, well, you were standing in the wrong place. So the next morning I went back, and it was awesome because then Daryl Sweat was there, and there were a couple of other people there, and definitely stepping up and helping new bus drivers, making sure that the buses were running smoothly. If people were having problems with their GPS, they were stepping up and circling around and coming back. Daryl was handing out water bottles. Mr. Sweat was handing out water bottles to the bus drivers. And I stood there again with my sign and just waved and said thank you. And I kept thinking, I feel like I should be doing this every day. And I didn't have the opportunity to go into every school and thank every custodian and say thank you to every support person and to say thank you to every teacher. So my opportunity to say thank you for all that you all do. You make Clay County so incredibly proud, and all of us so incredibly proud. And I just wanted to make certain that that message got out, because that's one of the most important messages that we as a board can pass on to you. Thank you for all that you do. On another note, yes, my agenda item was pulled. I pulled it, and I was hoping that Dr. Wiggins would still be here so that I could thank her for her comments, because she and I had spoken prior to the meeting. And one of the reasons I pulled it was because of the timing. But we have a policy, and it's regarding the salary of the superintendent. In our policy, it is 1.03, the superintendent of schools, and under B, it talks about the salary of the superintendent. Specifically, the base salary of the school superintendent is set in an amount indicated pursuant to section 1001.47 of the Florida statutes. They establish pretty much your minimum that you can be paid. However, the school board may, by majority vote, approve a salary in excess of the amount specified by the statute. And this last line that we just approved bothered me, because we haven't done this in 2 years. Mr. Davis has been with us for 22 months now. We're going on the next 2 months, we'll make it 2 years full. It says such salary shall be reviewed annually, and we have yet to review his salary. He is indeed the CEO, as it were, of the largest employer in Clay County. He manages 5,000 employees. He is responsible for 37,000 children, along with all of the employees, of course. He came on board when we were 18th in the state. Yes, there was a lot of turmoil on our board prior to his coming. And I know that when he came on board, a lot of the teacher friends that I have said, You know, we were hoping for a change, but I wasn't certain that we wanted that much of a change. And there were a lot of those sorts of questions and problems going on. But then this year, when we jumped up to 8th in the state, it's not so much the A. The A is great. We know that we're an A county, but 8th in the state, and we're going to continue to climb. We owe it to him and to our county to review his salary. Anyone in the county will tell you, anyone in the business world, and I here again, when Tessa was here earlier, the chamber most likely would say that a stronger school system will definitely be have an effect on economic development in our county. The stronger the school system, the more we're going to have coming into our county, more jobs, etc. Our children and our school system are our county's most valuable asset. The most valuable asset. And I would like to go on record to ask that we have a workshop sometime in the next 2 months to discuss the salary of the superintendent. Thank you.
Ms. Kourakis?
Wow. Who knew you were so good at standing on the side of the road holding signs? We could have used you during the campaign.
Done there, done that.
I know. I helped you. I just want to compliment our facilities department on Discovery Oaks Elementary. Wow, what a school. Mr. Davis, amazing. And you're right, it is the top of the line. It's, we walked through that the first day of school. We toured it, some of us, and that school is so exciting, especially those wiggle seats. That was the best part. For those little kids with ants in their pants that can't sit still, they were wonderful. Got my picture taken on one of those. It was a lot of fun. I know. I think everybody in the county saw that picture. But yeah, that school was wonderful, and I'm really impressed and proud that we were able to build that school without any debt. And I think that was really key. And we've not done that. I don't know, years ago, since I've been on the board, that's the first school that's been built. But Mrs. Studdard, how long ago was it before you guys, how far back did you build schools that we didn't have to take out a bond or COP? Do you remember? I mean, this was really amazing.
We're still trying to pay debt on the Fleming Island schools. Are you kidding me?
This was pretty remarkable. So I just want to say congratulations to our staff, our new principal, everybody who helped with that school. You know, Parrish McCall, Bidet and Hall. It's just wonderful, and I'm really proud to have my name on it. It was really exciting that we all got to see the plaque and got our picture taken next to it. The other thing I'd like to say is I would just like to say thank you to the citizens of Clay County. I won my election at the primary, and it's truly an honor and a privilege to serve Clay County Schools, to serve our constituents and our children, and I'm so proud of it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming out and voting for me, and I will continue to always put children first. Thank you.
Ms. Condon?
So at the beginning of August, our community partnership director at Wilkinson Junior High, Summer Burrell, organized a farm share event for the citizens of that area, and it was a phenomenal event. I was the only person who went from the school district, but that event would not have happened without the Clay County Sheriff's Office. They came for, I guess, traffic control, because to prevent cars from being out on 220, but they lifted food, they delivered food in cars, they managed all the traffic with the cars wrapped around Wilkinson Junior High 2 or 3 times. There were probably 50 members of the Sheriff's Office out there, and that event truly would not have happened for those people in that area. So I publicly wanted to thank the Sheriff's Office and Ms. Burrell. If you haven't gotten to be around any of those people in that community partnership school, it is quite amazing the work that they're already doing, making an impact in that community. And then there was a little bit of food left over, and she was able to utilize the new freezer at the at the junior high to take that food over and have it the next day at Wilkinson Elementary's orientation. So some families were blessed there as well. In addition to that, we have one of Mr. Davis's Champions of Change. We have at Ridgeview High School, there's a young lady named Kenyatta Hogan. And 2 years ago, she decided that there was a need in her community. She knew families that lived around her that didn't have enough to eat. And she arranged for a food drive the first year and they passed out food at I think it was Ridgeview Elementary. I'm not positive about that school. But then this past year, she decided she wanted to do it at Ridgeview High School. And so on a Saturday, with some help of just some local people in the area, she fed 250 families. So she's really a bright, shining star there at Ridgeview. And I got to meet her on the first day of school. We went into her art class, and Mr. Stafey took me over to introduce me, and she's quite a young lady. So we are really proud of her. And then lastly, I'll just say with all due respect that my kids have had great teachers in Clay County, and I know there's far more of those than there are not. But the CCEA representative who stood up at his faculty meeting and said, if any of you teach the school board member's son, make him sit on the floor, that's not loving on my kid. That's all.
What? Ooh. Okay, my turn again. Okay, first of all, we are being remiss. We didn't thank Ms. Legutko for the macaroons, the culinary department.
Sorry, through the chair. Ms.
Segreto,
Legutko, I didn't know, did you have time today to bake cookies?
I've got Legutko on the brain, Segreto.
We got budget to do.
Ridgeview High School. There you go.
These are for the culinary department. Segreto, I do know your name. I've just got Legutko on the brain. These are the macaroons made, and when we went to the school, she was generous enough to give us each a shirt, but we didn't get macaroons, and so she wanted to bring them tonight, and thank you, and I'm sure my husband's going to be in these soon. Okay. And also, I do also want to thank the voters for passing the millage. As Mr. Davis said, it's for 4 years. We won't receive any of this money until 2020. And I want to thank you, Mr. Davis, because the one thing that has kept social media just going nuts is what are they going to do with that? I think I saw $40 million, and, we're going to give everybody big raises. We're going to take trips probably, go on cruises. I am so glad that finally we have something to show them that it's not like we're going to have $40 million to just fool around with. I promise all of the citizens of Clay County that this school board and the superintendent will be good stewards of the revenue that will come in from this and stop the foolishness. We need every nickel of it. Okay. And with that, don't forget a real short executive session as soon as we adjourn. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.